I confess, I stole my best friend's boyfriend. Everyone hated me for it. They called me names I'll never forget. But when the truth came out about who she really was and what she did to him, the world finally saw the difference between stealing someone and saving them. Watch till the end, because love doesn't always look pure. Sometimes it's born in fire. I confess, I stole my best friend's boyfriend. Even saying it feels like breathing through shards of glass. It wasn't something I planned, it wasn't a fantasy, and it definitely wasn't a fairy tale. But life rarely plays by the rules we write for it. Sophie was my best friend for 10 years. We were inseparable, the kind of girls who finished each other's sentences and promised to be each other's bridesmaids one day. She was bold, loud, magnetic, the kind of woman everyone wanted to be near. I admired her until I saw the sides she didn't show the world. When she met Ethan, everything shifted. He was calm where she was chaos, patient where she was reckless. He adored her in the purest, most selfless way I'd ever seen a man love a woman. And she used that love like a weapon. At first, I told myself not to get involved. But as her late-night calls grew darker, her words sharper, I couldn't ignore the feeling that something was deeply wrong. Ethan started confiding in me. At first small things, then heartbreaks. The fights. The lies. The alcohol. The manipulation. And that's where it began. Not the affair, not the betrayal, but the understanding. The painful, slow connection between two people who both loved the same person in completely different ways. The first time I saw Ethan cry, it broke something in me. He wasn't the kind of man who showed weakness. He always smiled through pain, always forgave too quickly. But that night, he sat in my apartment, head in his hands, whispering things that made my skin crawl. "She hit me again," he said quietly. "It's my fault. I shouldn't have argued." I felt sick. Not just from the violence, but from the way he blamed himself for being mistreated. That's what Sophie did. She could twist guilt like a knife, make people question their own reality until they broke. I told him to leave her. He shook his head. "You don't just leave someone you love when they're broken." "Ethan, she's breaking you," I said softly. That night, something shifted between us, a silence heavy enough to drown in. He reached for my hand, not romantically, but as if anchoring himself to someone safe. I should have pulled away. I should have told him this was dangerous. But I didn't. I let him stay until morning. When Sophie found out he'd been at my place, she went ballistic. "Are you trying to steal my boyfriend, Emma?" she hissed. Her voice was venom. I denied it, even though I could feel guilt rising in my throat. Not guilt for something I'd done, but guilt for the truth she could already sense. Because deep down, I was falling for him. And no matter how hard I tried to bury it, love has a way of growing in the cracks of destruction. Weeks passed. Their relationship was like a storm that never ended. Sophie's drinking got worse. Her jealousy turned violent. Ethan looked thinner, quieter, smaller. I kept telling myself to back off, that it wasn't my life to fix. Then one night, he called me in panic. "She crashed my car," he said, his voice shaking. "She was drunk. She's in the hospital." I rushed there before he even asked. Sophie was fine, just a few bruises, but the police found something worse: cocaine in her bag. I stood beside Ethan while he tried to make sense of it all. She screamed at him, blamed him, even accused me of setting her up. That was the first night he held me, not as a friend, but as someone who finally realized who had been there all along. We didn't kiss. We didn't cross a line. But that hug, that quiet moment, was the beginning of the end. Sophie must have sensed it, because a week later, she turned everyone against me. She told our entire friend group that I was obsessed with her boyfriend, that I'd been trying to break them up for months. She called me a snake, a jealous loser. It worked. People stopped talking to me. Even my mother asked if it was true. But the real heartbreak came when Ethan didn't defend me. He was scared of her temper, her threats. She told him if he left her, She'd ruin his career, expose private things from his past. So he stayed. And I walked away. For 3 months, I didn't see him. I tried to move on, tried to forget. But love doesn't leave when you tell it to. It lingers, quiet, haunting. Until one night there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Ethan stood there, drenched in rain, eyes hollow. "I can't do it anymore," he whispered. "Then don't," I said. That night he didn't go back. When Sophie found out we were together, she exploded. She posted photos, screenshots, fake messages. She told everyone I had ruined her life. Her family called mine. She even came to my workplace and screamed in the lobby until security dragged her out. I wanted to fight back, to tell the world what really happened, but Ethan begged me not to. "She'll destroy herself if we push her," he said quietly. And I don't want to be the reason for that. So we stayed silent. We let the world hate us. For a long time, it worked. People crossed the street when they saw me. My name became a warning story whispered at parties. But through it all, Ethan never wavered. He loved me with a gentleness that made the noise fade away. We got married quietly, just us and 2 witnesses. No friends, no family, no fanfare. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. A year later, Sophie's truth finally surfaced. She was arrested for theft and drug possession. It turned out she'd been stealing from Ethan's company long before we met. When the news broke, people started connecting the dots, the lies, the manipulation, the chaos she'd caused. One by one, the same people who judged me began to reach out. "We're sorry. You were right." But forgiveness from others didn't matter anymore. The only forgiveness I needed was from myself. Because even though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, the guilt still lived somewhere inside me. I didn't steal Ethan. I saved him. But saving someone you love doesn't come without scars. Years later, our life looks nothing like what I imagined. Ethan runs his own design firm now. I teach art classes in a small London studio. We have laughter, warmth, and peace, the kind of life I once thought only existed in daydreams. Sometimes, when I see old photos of Sophie and me, I feel a strange ache, not for her, but for the girl I used to be. The girl who believed friendship could survive anything. Ethan never talks about her, and I never ask. But sometimes, when the past echoes too loudly, he holds my hand and whispers, "Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I didn't deserve you." And that's when I know everything we went through is worth it. People still judge me when they hear my story. Some say I'm a homewrecker. Some say I'm selfish. Maybe I am. But what they don't see is what it takes to love someone through their darkest chapters, or what it costs to tell the truth when the world wants a villain. I didn't steal my best friend's boyfriend. I freed a good man from the wrong woman. And in doing so, I freed myself too from guilt, from silence, from the need to please everyone. Because sometimes the most controversial kind of love is the one that saves you both. Love doesn't always come wrapped in perfection. Sometimes it's born in chaos, tested by judgment, and proven by truth. If you've ever been hated for following your heart, remember, time always reveals who is real and who is just pretending.